Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, August 1st, 2023, and I am Jason DeCanio, your gracious host and moderator of DMS 3000 News Live, episode 33 coming at you right now, and we hope that you had a fantastic yesterday with us here on the program as we gave you a fantastic show that I thought was fantastic as far as giving you the commentaries and of that famous book of Psychology on Stupidity. I really thought it was a great book, and today we've got another book that I think kind of tops that, and we'll go ahead and discuss all the great events that are going on today. So this is the first day of August, and we are now on the 8th month of the year. Can you believe it, folks? 4 more months till Christmas. So we're we're right there, and the year is just flying by so fast. It just goes to show you how fast the year can go when it gets there. So, yeah, I think we have said our statements here, and we're thinking to ourselves, my goodness, Labor Day is right around the corner. We're only about a month and 3 days, literally, to the Labor Day holiday weekend, and it starts on that first weekend, which will be September 2nd. So we have a lot to cover in that time frame and get there. We have a great show coming up on September 4th. We have a fantastic show on September 11th for Patriot Day. We're going to be talking about something that they don't really talk about, and they should. It'll be this year marks the 50th anniversary of the building of the World Trade Center. I'd like to see how many news stations actually mention that, if any. I'll put money on that, if anything. I'll put $5 on it if I really have to. But I know that they're not going to say anything. They're going to concentrate more on the attacks of the towers, not so much the fact that the towers were built 50 years ago around, this year. I'll give you the exact date later on in the program, but we'll see what happens about that when we get to it. But today's program was supposed to have Erin Perry with us today. Unfortunately, she has not gotten back to me as far as a confirmation of the interview the interviews we were supposed to have. But no worries, folks. There's always plenty of other days that we can do interviews and get her on here to record what we need to record. So no worries, Erin. I know you're tied up with some things and just a busy woman. It's a rough time out there when you're getting your band together and have to go on tour and you're trying to get the proper rest, and then if you got but we wish you and the band much great success on your next tours wherever it takes you, and we'll hear from you later on sometime, and we'll confirm an interview and get you on the program eventually. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and look at the events of today. Today, we're going to be looking at the 42nd birthday to the launching of MTV, the first music channel of its kind. Yes, folks, MTV came out 42 years ago on this date, August 1st, 1981, and is celebrating 42 years of being the leader of music TV. Now, you got to look and say to yourself, they were the biggest things of music videos back in the day. But what does MTV have now? Very little to do with music. How the times have changed over the 40 years. We'll look back at that very first day on August 1st, 1981, to give you all of the history of MTV. And a happy 50th birthday to Tempest Bledsoe. You remember her. Vanessa from The Cosby Show. Yes, little Vanessa, who grew up to become a beautiful woman who is now turning 50 years old today. Happy birthday, Tempest. We wish you the best and hope you have a fantastic day. We'll look at your fantastic run as a great actress from The Cosby Show and find out a little more about what you're doing nowadays, because she's really, I don't know what she's doing as far as the high life, or if she's even still acting, or is she doing a lot of behind the scenes. So we'll find out what's going on later on in the program. And Surrounded by Idiots, a book by Thomas Erikson. Yes, the commentary. Well, you basically know what's going on with the psychology of stupidity. So today we're going to be looking at a book titled Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erikson. This one, well, we're just going to delve deep and see what we can uncover today. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. Also, too, what day is today? We didn't cover that, so we'll cover it today. Also, the editorial at the end of the program. And, of course, headlines, sports, and what day is today? Yes, always. So that's what we're going to be doing with today on our program. Remember all of the things today we are getting into as for Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. So let's take a look at the headlines right now, get ourselves going here. I think we're gonna have one of those days when the internet's gonna be real slow today. I can tell you right now. It's like, wake up, internet. Okay. The U.S. ties Portugal 0-0 to advance to the knockout round at Women's World Cup. The top-ranked and two-time defending champion U.S. did just enough to squeak into the knockout round. Portugal dominated possession all game as the U.S. struggled to create offensive chances. Yep. But up first, a briefing. Teflon Don, ACLU lawsuit, and Pee Wee Herman's legacy. Yes, Donald Trump's legal woes haven't hurt his polling numbers. The ACLU files a lawsuit to block the country's first religious public charter school. And unfortunately, remembering Paul Reubens, also known as Pee Wee Herman, he passed away yesterday at the age of 71. And we're going to have more in-depth look at him. Brandon Martin will talk more about his wonderful legacy tomorrow on episode 34 of DMS News Live, coming up tomorrow. Because I found out about it just after we had our show from yesterday, so I couldn't really get a chance to touch on Paul Reubens' passing and legacy. So, to be fair about that, we'll throw that story over to Brandon Martin, and he'll definitely pick that up on tomorrow's show. So you'll get more information about the man's wonderful legacy and the heartbreaking stuff that guy had to go through with the rumors and the child pornography and all the other things that you guys just pasted him and blasted him for. He made his living. He did what he had to do. He kept to himself. And by golly geez, it's a shame that he went so early in life. 71 is still young, folks. My mom is 72 and still, kicking the pan here. So, I always say that's good. King Kevin Daddy, how you doing? Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us here. All right, back to everything here. Let's continue on with the headlines, okay? Withering heat is more common, but getting AC is still a struggle in public housing. Yes, many people in public housing are especially vulnerable to extreme heat, and there's no federal requirement for air conditioning. That leaves some tenants struggling to pay for it on their own. A Ukrainian fencer scorned a Russian's handshake, challenging the sport's traditions. The scandal between Ukrainian fencer Olga Karlin and Russian fencer Anna Smirnova raised questions about neutrality, the limits of sportsmanship, and one of fencing's oldest traditions, the handshake. Yes, the Cossacks traditions live on near the front lines in Ukraine. Zaporizhzhian Cossacks are warriors who have been revered for centuries in Ukraine. A family is maintaining the Cossack traditions by training people with swords, maces, and their bare hands. And the FIFA World Cup 2023. Yes, NPR's coverage of the FIFA Women's World Cup soccer tournament in New Zealand and Australia going on right now. After a year-long fight, a near-total abortion ban is going into effect in Indiana. Indiana's law will bar abortions except in cases of lethal fetal anomaly, rape, or incest, or when the woman's life or health are seriously jeopardized. The fallout will be felt across the Midwest. Phoenix ends a 31-day streak of highs at or above 110 degrees by reaching 108. The historic heat began blasting the southwestern United States in June, stretching from Texas across from New Mexico and Arizona and into California's desert. Parents share what they learned from watching Bluey. Yes, the anthropomorphic cattle dog has been captivating the attention of her target audience and then some. Yes. And who is Will Hurd, the 45-year-old Republican presidential hopeful? He is a 45-year-old former CIA agent who served 6 years representing Western Texas in the House. He told us that he's running because he sees generational challenges facing America's fragile democracy. Top American cyclist Magnus White. He's only 17. He passed away after being hit by a car. He was preparing to compete in next week's cyclocross world championships in Scotland when a driver struck him while he was cycling on the shoulder of a highway in Boulder, Colorado. And Pee Wee Herman creator Paul Reubens dies at 70. Yes, Reubens' persona of Pee Wee Herman was a petulant man-child. Yes, but he was also a trickster spirit, a burst of joyous id that snuck his brand of anarchy into the mainstream and will, like I said, touch on Paul Reubens' wonderful legacy tomorrow on episode 34 with Brandon Martin. Tragedy always. And if you missed August's super blue moon, you'll have to wait 9 years for your next chance. 2 stellar lunar events are happening this August with a sturgeon supermoon on August 1st, that's tonight, and then a rare blue supermoon on August 30th. Write those dates down. Very important. And those are the headlines today for Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. All right. Well, the headlines are done, and we now go to Major League Baseball, where we're going to pick up where we left off on the trade deadline. And some new stuff has come down, and I'm not too happy about it, as Mark Canha now has been dealt to the Brewers. Max Scherzer goes to the Dodgers. Oh no, he goes to the Texas Rangers. Yeah. And Justin Verlander could be on the chopping block. He could be going to the Dodgers. So the Mets are just throwing away their players left and right like they don't care about this year. This is, again, folks, why baseball, in some rare instances, why these teams trade away their good players and they have fantastic, stellar careers the rest of the time wherever they're playing outside of New York. I always said this, and I'll say it again. What is wrong with playing in New York, folks? Why all the pressure? Is it the New York reporters that demand you give them answers to their stupid questions? Or is it that the fact that it's just a tough city to play in and your fans demand a lot? Yes, we demand a lot, and you should be on top of your game. But that doesn't mean you slouch when you come to New York, okay? There is like a vendetta against the New York Mets and the New York Yankees, for that matter. The Yankees can have something to say about that, too, because look at where they are. They're in the bottom of the cellar dweller. We'll talk about that in the editorial later on in the program. But let's get back to the deadlines and everything and what's going on with that, because the trade deadline ends at 6 o'clock tonight. And I can tell you that it's not going to be easy for these teams to go and, and pick up the players they need, because for what it's worth, So let's look at the latest rumors and news right now from the trade deadline. This is these clubs among most aggressive buyers in the SP market report, and we're keeping track of all the latest rumors and buzz leading up to the trade deadline. Let's continue here. Right now, the Orioles Reds among the most aggressive teams in the starting pitcher market. Yes, Lucas Giolito, Max Scherzer, Jordan Montgomery, Lance Lynn, and Aaron Civale have already been dealt, but there are plenty of clubs still eyeing starting pitching help. Among the most aggressive in their pursuit of rotation upgrades, the Orioles and Reds, ESPN's Buster Olney reported on Monday evening. Per MLB Network insider John Paul Morosi, the Dodgers, Astros, Giants, D-backs, Marlins, Phillies, and Braves are also in the market for starting pitching. O's general manager Mike Elias recently mentioned that the club is hunting for pitching help. The starting rotation's 4.51 ERA ranks 18th in the majors. Plus, the Orioles just sent right-hander Tyler Wells, perhaps their most consistent starter during the season's first half, to Double-A for a little bit of a reset following some poor outings this month. Morosi considers the O's to be a team to watch in the race to acquire Justin Verlander, while the Athletics' Ken Rosenthal, subscription required, named Tigers starter Michael Lorenzen as a possible option for the club. On Monday, Morosi noted the Orioles and Tigers have had conversations related to starting pitching. Aside from Lorenzen, left-hander Eduardo Rodriguez could be on the market. Rodriguez has had a strong year with a 2.95 ERA and 91 strikeouts in 88 and a third innings. And Detroit reportedly seeks offense, so Baltimore could be a fit. The Orioles' top 8 prospects are all position players. 6 of them are in AAA or MLB, including current major leaguers Colton Cowser and Jordan Westburg. As for the Reds, well, Rosenthal reported Monday morning that they were having conversations with clubs, but were reluctant to trade major league ready prospects for starting pitchers who could amount to 2-month rentals. However, it's possible Cincinnati's stance has softened somewhat in its trade conversations. The Reds may get young hurlers Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo back from the injured list before the end of August, but they could use an infusion of pitching. Their starting rotation owns a 5.18 ERA, 4th worst in the majors. In the meantime, as they remain locked in a tight battle for first place in the NL Central. Could an Astros reunion be in store for Verlander? Well, the Astros remain involved in Justin Verlander, with some believing that Houston is the Aces' preferred destination, per a new report team from the Athletics' Ken Rosenthal. And per Rosenthal, the Astros have shifted their focus towards adding a starter. General Manager Dana Brown said on Sunday that the team wasn't looking to add a starter unless a move made sense, and that Verlander could prefer a return to Houston because of his relationship with owner Jim Crane. Earlier in the day, MLB Network insider John Hyman reported that many clubs were showing interest in Verlander. Who will land Toscar Hernandez? Well, one of the best remaining hitters on the market is reportedly a hot commodity. MLB Network insider John Paul Morosi reported Monday night that Mariners outfielder Toscar Hernandez is increasingly likely to be dealt ahead of Tuesday's trade deadline. Hernandez has struggled in his first year with Seattle, owning a 238, 288, 408 slash line with the Mariners. His OPB is 7th lowest among qualified hitters, and he has hit 16 home runs in 2023 and has totaled 22 or more in each of the past 4 full seasons, plus 16 in the shortened 2020 campaign. As Morosi reports, 3 current wildcard teams are among those interested in the right-handed hitter, and he could be dealt back to Toronto after spending the 2017 to 2022 with the Blue Jays, who traded him to Seattle for Eric Swanson and prospect Adam Macko in November. The Phillies are in need of a right-handed bat with Rhys Hoskins, torn ACL, he's out, and Trey Turner's scuffling, while the Giants are still without Mitch Haniger, forearm fracture. San Francisco acquired A.J. Pollock from the Seattle Mariners on Monday and could be poised to make another deal with the Mariners. And could Dylan Cease be traded? Well, don't count on it. The White Sox have completed a handful of deals over the past few days, trading 5 pitchers: Lucas Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez, Lance Lynn, Joe Kelly, and Kendall Graveman. In an effort to improve for the near future, Chicago intends to compete in 2024 with core players such as right-handed ace Dylan Cease leading the way. But might Cease be on the move before Tuesday's trade deadline? Don't count on it. According to the Athletics' Ken Rosenthal, the White Sox are listening to offers on Cease and others. The perception among many in the industry is that Cease and Robert Jr. remain all but untouchable, but some rival executives see the White Sox willingness to entertain offers as an opening, however small, Rosenthal wrote. MLB.com's Mark Frisnan said during Monday's episode of Chatting Practice that he doesn't expect Cease will be traded unless a team comes in and just overwhelms the White Sox. Cease hasn't quite replicated his 2022 success when he was a finalist for the AL Cy Young Award. However, after a very bumpy start to this season, the 27-year-old has been much improved since the middle of May. He has posted a 3.42 ERA with 94 strikeouts and 79 innings across his previous 14 starts. He is in his first year of arbitration and under club control through 2025. Acquiring Cease would be obviously requiring a significant return, but as MLB Network insider John Paul Morosi wrote Monday, there are numerous contenders looking for pitching upgrades, perhaps those with strong farm systems. Clubs such as the Orioles and Dodgers could make an offer that the White Sox can't refuse. Well, all right, that's a look at some of the trade rumors going on. Remember, the trade deadline goes until 6 o'clock tonight. Anything can happen at that point in time. If something does come up, you'll know to hear it basically on YouTube or some other sporting channel for what's going on. Let's take a look at the MLB scores from last night. There were some interesting games going on. And the Marlins fall to the Phillies between the Marlins and the Phillies right now. Both are 10 games back of the Braves, and they're fighting for second place. But the Phillies prevail, get the win, and go 57-49. One game better than the Marlins at 57-50. They beat them last night 4-2. The Rays, they continue to hand the Yankees terrible losses. The Rays go on to win the game yesterday in Yankee Stadium, 5-1. Still remain a half game back of the Orioles for the division lead. It was the Nationals over the Brewers, 5-3, as the Nationals upset the Brewers. Nationals are playing the Mets just prior to, got their butts handed to them, and now they go into, they go on their home turf, play the Brewers, and it's like, hey, we're starting to win again. They are 45-62, still 17 games under 500, and still on the bottom of the National League East. And they right now, are still trying to fight to get out of the cellar. We'll see what happens as they continue on here. It was the Orioles over the Blue Jays, and the Orioles, once again, folks, 65-41 right now, the best record in the American League. It shows you what they are proving. Now, half a game ahead of Tampa Bay, and the Blue Jays are trying to fight once again for that spot. They're at 59-48. They lose to the Orioles 4-2. The Angels, they upset the Braves in Truist Park. Can you believe that? The Anaheim Angels, 56-51, crushed the Braves 4-1. And now with the Braves still 30 games over 500, the lead now is shrunk to 10 games. Maybe. We'll see what happens. Give you the standings in just a little bit here. The Reds over the Cubs, 6-5. No much going on there. The Reds still fighting for the Brewers, with the Brewers in the NL Central. It was the Astros over the Guardians, 7-3. The Rockies upset the Padres, 4-3. It was the Mariners over the Red Sox, 6-2, as the Red Sox now still one game over the Yankees, but getting close to dropping into the cellar. Is it a matter of who's going into the cellar? We don't know. We'll see. And the D-backs, they take the game from the Giants yesterday to go. They beat them 4-3 to go to 57-50. The Giants are at 58-49. So with that in mind, now let's look at the standings to keep you on track. Let's look at them right now. Baltimore, 1.5 games over the Tampa Bay Rays. But the Rays still are ahead of everybody for the wild card at 5 games over everybody in the wild card spot. Toronto, 59-48, 6.5 back. Boston, 56-50, 9 games back, 2.5 back in the wild card. They still have a chance. And the Yankees, 55-51, 10 games back, 3.5 back in the wild card. Minnesota, 54-53, leading the AL Central. The Cleveland Guardians, 1 game back at they're under 500, 6 games back in the wild card. The Tigers, 47-59, 6.5 back, 11.5 in the wild card. Chicago White Sox, 43-64, 11 back, 16 back in the wild card. Kansas City making a little run there. They're 32-75, 22 games back, 27 back in the wild card. AL West, Texas right now with Houston, half a game up on the Astros right now. The Texas Rangers, 60-46, with Houston right now half game back, 1 game up on the wild card at 60-47. Right now, the LA Angels making a little dent. They now are trailing 4.5 back, 3 back in the wild card at 56-51. Seattle Mariners, 55-51, 5 games back, 3.5 back in the wild card. And Oakland finally gets their 30th win, 30-77, 30.5 back, 29 back in the wild card. They can still make a run if, for God's some reason, they can get going. They start their series against the Dodgers tonight. Seattle goes up against Boston in their first series. The LA Angels go back to Atlanta. Houston against Cleveland, and the White Sox and the Rangers will play tonight. NL East, well, the lead is shrinking, folks. Atlanta, with that loss yesterday, still 30 games over 500 at 67-37. They lead the NL East, but with the Philly win and the Miami loss, Philly now 57-49, 11 back, half a game up on the wild card. Miami 57-50, 11.5 back. The Mets, because of the winning streak and the loss of the Atlanta, 17.5 back, 6 games back in the wild card. They still have a chance. They start their series against the Kansas City Royals tonight. Miami and Philly go up again tonight, and Atlanta goes to the Angels again. Washington will play Milwaukee tonight in Washington. So the Brewers have a chance to go in there and try to make some dents into the Washington Nationals, who sit on the bottom at 45-62, 23.5 back, 12 back in the wild card. NL Central right now has the Reds, 10 games over 500. They lead the top of the division with a 2-game winning streak. They play the Cubs tonight. So they start their series against the Cubs. The Brewers are 57-50, 1.5 back. The Cubs, 53-53, 500 team, 5 back in the games, 3.5 back in the wild card. Pittsburgh, 47-58, 10.5 back, 9 back in the wild card. St. Louis, 47-60, 11.5 back, 10 back in the wild card. The Dodgers lost, and they're going to Oakland to start their series tonight. 59-45, 15 games over 500. They're on a losing streak. San Francisco, 58-49, also on a losing streak, but 2.5 back, 1 game in the wild card up. Arizona with the win here, 57-50, 3.5 back. San Diego, 52-55, 8.5 back, 5 back in the wild card. Colorado, 42-64, 18 back, 14 back and a half back in the wild card. Let's see. San Francisco goes to Arizona, Colorado and San Diego. And yeah, that's the way it's going to look right now. And that's the way it looks pretty much right now in the standings as of today, August 1st, 2023. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to look at what day is today and then get on our events here with the happy 42nd birthday to the launching of MTV, the first music channel of its kind. We'll be right back right after this.
Please pass the all fruit.
Pass the Polaner all fruit.
Pass the Polaner all fruit.
Would you please pass the jelly?
Polaner all fruit is real fruit, sweetened only with fruit juice. You'll call it delicious, you'll call it remarkable, but please don't dare call it jelly. Polaner all fruit, the spreadable fruit.
Worst part about shaving for me? Razor drag. Edge? No razor drag. Extra moisturizers and lubricants. Razors glide effortlessly across my bare skin. So smooth. Just gliding. No hang-ups. Makes shaving feel so good. Makes shaving feel so right. Edge. Get some.
Jello pudding pops, Jello pudding pops, frozen pudding on a stick. You know, Jello pudding pops is a winner with all the soapbox racers I know.
It is?
Mm-hmm. And even your mechanic's getting all revved up about it because it's so rich and creamy.
Yeah!
And it always gets the green light from Mom because it's made with real pudding.
Jello brand pudding pops. All the goodness of real Jello pudding, so you know it's wholesome.
A true winner.
And he gets a green light from Mom.
Boom.
Mom sure know how to make life easier. Mine was always there for me. Like another mom I know. This mom, Phillips Milk of Magnesia. M-O-M. The laxative that helps your body work naturally for easy overnight relief. Would Mom be harsh? No. And Mom's even easier to take with this dosage cup. See? Mom knows just what you need. So when you run into trouble, remember, nobody treats you better than Mom.
I bet you did something today you feel pretty good about. Bet you did. So go get your Mars bar. Come on, you deserve the best. Can't you just taste that rich milk chocolate, creamy caramel, and snuggle deep inside soft nougat? Big, fresh, crunchy nuts after nuts after nuts. This is what you deserve. You deserve every big crunchy nut in a Mars bar. You did do something good today, didn't you?
Oh, man. Stop texting me, people. Huh? I'm over my limit. I get charged for each text now.
You should switch to Metro PCS. Text all you want for only $3 a month.
Oh, okay, right. And then your bill is hand-delivered by Bigfoot on a singing pony.
Sounds like make-believe, but it's not. Text all you want for $3 a month and no contract. Metro PCS.
Hello, hello, hello.
Unlimit yourself.
Hello, and welcome back to DMS 3000 News Live, episode 33 on this Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. Welcome back to the show, and I tell you, that was with some pretty interesting things going on in the world of baseball. And, you know, sooner or later, August, folks, is going to be football, preseason football. Yes, it's happening in maybe, I don't know, middle of the month, maybe next weekend, maybe this weekend coming up. I think it's going to happen. We'll let you know the first launch of the official date. And I have some fantastic news to share with you today. Today is August 1st, as you probably know. Duh, right? But what you don't know is that today is the first of 5 meetings that are going to happen today on Discord at 8 o'clock tonight. I've got people coming for the launch of the fall schedule on the David 3000 network. So if you have had your name on the list tonight, we would like you to come by, come 15 minutes early to get settled in, sign in, relax, chill a little bit, because we'll start promptly at 8 o'clock with a look at the preview of the fall schedule that's going to be launched this September 4th. Yes, you'll get a look at what's going to be on the program for the next 7 months, the channel. Give your inputs and ideas, and maybe you have a show that you would like us to air for that 7-month period and get some real good audience targeted. You never know what's going to happen. And for that, folks, you control the channel pretty much. They always say that a network is only as successful as the people who watch it or who are partake in it. So a successful network like the David 3000 network relies on you. It's kind of like PBS, like viewers like you, So that's what we're up against. So we hope to see all of the people who signed up for the August 1st meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. All right. Now let's go and look at what day is today. We've got a couple a couple of ones I want to share with you today. I like the ones that deal with the food, because if we had to go through all of them, it would take too long. So I was scrolling today and I happened to see the first one, and I thought this was fantastic. This is a good one here. Homemade Pie Day. Yes. For all you people who make homemade pies, it's held every year on this day, August 1st. It's a time to celebrate pie, and a dish that has existed since the era of the ancient Egyptians. Pies have featured in one form or another in several cultures around the world, from the ancient Greeks to the Romans to the British and eventually the Americans. Today, pie has become a symbol of American life. It can be eaten as a meal, as a dessert, or as a snack. Well, the ancient Egyptians are the earliest known civilization to have had a pie dish. Typically consisted of a crust made from wheat, oats, rye, or barley, and filled with honey. The ancient Greeks and Romans also had pastries similar to the modern-day pie. And for instance, the Romans often coated meat with a pastry made out of flour, oil, and water. However, this dough was only intended to preserve the meat and not eaten as a meal. A Roman cookbook entitled Apicius, dating back to the 1st century, was discovered to contain recipes similar to pie cases. In Great Britain, pies were often referred to as coffins. They were mainly used as a covering to preserve meat, especially on long sea voyages, as fresh meat could not be obtained. During medieval times, these pies became more elaborate as cooks tried to outdo each other in presentation. At grand banquets, pies were often the centerpiece of the food table as the pie cases were removed to reveal the delicious fillings underneath. Sometimes live actors or musicians were hidden inside pies to burst out as a surprise. Until the 15th century, pies usually only contained meat or fish, but they soon included fruits and custard. And it is reported that the very first cherry pie was baked for Queen Elizabeth I during the 16th century. As English settlers arrived in America, pies came along with them. Early versions often had thick, heavy crusts of rough flour and suet. Pies soon became a trademark American dish and today are heavily associated with traditional American life. When soldiers were asked why they were going off to war during World War II, they replied, "For Mom and apple pie." Yep. So 1st century AD, the Apicius is discovered. It's an ancient Roman cookbook. The Oxford Dictionary mentions pie in the 14th century. 16th century, the Queen eats her first slice of cherry pie. 1902, the New York Times praises the pie. An article in the New York Times states pie is the food of the heroic. Yes. So what are you going to do today? You're going to make a homemade pie if you're one of those people who not only do it well, but do it sporadically. There's nothing sweeter than the smell of a homemade pie. Get your hands to work and bake a delicious pie for yourself and your loved ones. Make it a challenge by trying out some new recipes. And don't forget to support a pie business. If you just don't trust yourself around an oven, help a small business stay afloat. Order a pie in whatever flavor you love and get chewing. And use the hashtag. Help create awareness for this fun holiday by posting it on social media. Don't forget to use the hashtag Homemade Pie Day. Here's 5 interesting facts about pie. Americans eat a ton of it. 186 million pies are sold in grocery stores every year. The most expensive pie costs nearly $10,000. In 2015, the most expensive pie in the world cost about $9,500, sold at Lord Dudley Hotel in Sydney, Australia. Wow. And they're comforting. According to a survey, 47% of Americans associate the word comforting with pie. Apple pie is popular. We all know that. The United States, the apple pie is a crowd favorite. Never a doubt and never will get old. Pies are a moneymaker. In the United Kingdom, the pie industry rakes in about 1.2 billion pounds a year. That's money, the pounds, yes. And why we love Homemade Pie Day. It encourages home cooking. Yes, in this age of fast food, it's often difficult to take out time to cook for ourselves. This holiday gives us a chance to get into the kitchen and make our own food, even if it's for one day. And it supports the pie bakers. The awareness that this day brings provides a boost to the pie industry. As people go out of their way to purchase pies, a lot of people will be smiling all the way to the bank. And pies bring warm memories. As discovered in a survey, comfort is associated with pie. This day brings to mind warm feelings of home, hearth, and family life. And there you have it. National Pie Day, Homemade Pie Day. Really good stuff. And we have one more for you. National Raspberry Cream Pie Day. Yes, for all of those who love cream pies, especially raspberry. Well, get ready to satisfy your sweet tooth on this day. celebrated the honor of the creation of the delicious raspberry cream pie that has become one of the most favorite desserts across America. The day is commemorated on this particular date since it is during this time of the year that raspberries turn ripe. Hence, this is the perfect day to put on your pastry chef caps and head to the kitchen to create some yummy raspberry cream pie for friends and family. And while we are accustomed to different forms of pie in this day and age, there was a time when there was no such thing as fruit pies. In fact, pies were mostly served with meat, meat pies, and that stuff is really good. For instance, a chicken pie recipe was found on a tablet that dates back to 2000 BC. In Britain, too, pies were mostly made with meat fillings and were one of the dishes that were opted for when heading out on a sea voyage. Pies and tarts became fashionable only during the Dark Ages, when members of the monarchy preferred them to be served at court. And since the British royals loved pie so much, it wasn't long before the regions they colonized also started adapting to new fruit cream pie recipes. This love for pie further evolved in the 1800s, and various flavors such as chocolate, apple, and cherry were introduced. The famous apple pie was all the rage in the U.S. when the land was colonized by Europeans. And while there was a point in the 1900s during which different forms of cream pie were served in every American household, the tradition began dwindling with the rise of the women's rights movements. This is because more women insisted on stepping out of the house and working, rather than simply staying at home and cooking up dishes. However, sugar pies once again made a comeback during World War II, and during this time, old pie recipes were discovered and new recipes were created to add variety to the types of cream pies available. 5th century BC is when it all started. The historic pie. The ancient Greeks were responsible for that pie pastry. Then go to the 16th century. Cherry pie, Queen Elizabeth. The Great Pie of 1850, the sugar cream pie, is created in Indiana. 1976, the cookbook, the Hoosier Cookbook, publishes a sugar cream pie recipe. Interesting to see about sugar cream pie. We should look at that up and see what they do. So here's how to celebrate this National Raspberry Cream Pie Day. Even if you can't participate in the competition, have a competition. It's definitely fun to watch and extremely hilarious. So host a small pie eating competition and get ready to have the time of your life. Host a Raspberry Cream Pie Festival. Organize a small one with a few others from your town or city and have people put up interesting stalls with innovative raspberry cream pie recipes. And get cooking. The easiest and least expensive way to celebrate the day is by baking a raspberry cream pie yourself. All you need is a cookbook and a few essential ingredients. Here's some fun facts about raspberries you didn't know. There are many colors of raspberries. Yes, other than the traditional red, they can be purple, gold, or even black. Did you know that? Raspberries in the U.S., 90% of the raspberries come from Washington, California, and Oregon. And there are only 53 calories in 100 grams of raspberries. 53. It's pretty good. They have a great variety. There are over 200 types of raspberries that you can choose from. And the roots of raspberries can survive for about 10 years. So they have a long time in the ground. Why National Raspberry Cream Pie Day is important? They're healthy. While the pie itself has sugar, the raspberries used in it are healthy and are known as a great source of vitamin C and dietary fiber. It promotes the invention of new recipes. There is no end to new recipes as long as people keep experimenting. National Raspberry Cream Pie Day motivates people to concoct their own version of the pie, and it's a day to eat out. Since the day is all about eating raspberry cream pies, it helps in building personal relations, increasing sales of bakeries, and earns the servers some great tips. Too interesting. What day is today? Holidays. We'll look at more. Of course, Brandon Martin's got some interesting ones. Maybe tomorrow. We won't let you know what they are, but we will tell you that he might cover some tomorrow on the program. So interesting as it is, what day is today? We'll stick around for a little while longer. When we come back, we'll look at the 42nd birthday to the launching of MTV, the first music channel of its kind, and then celebrate a 50th birthday with Tempest Bledsoe, the Cosby kid who grew up to be a beautiful woman, and who knows what she's doing today. We'll find out as we look at her wonderful life from growing up on the Cosby Show to now turning 50 as of today. So we'll look at her life and what she did over the course of that time in just a little bit. But right now we're going to take a break, and when we come back, MTV right after this.
Every day I wake up and pour myself a cup of that rich Folgers aroma. The best part of waking up, it's the do-up in all I do. The Mountain Goat aroma always coming through. Oh, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Now I'm right in harmony with that do-up ditty. Whoa, one more cup and it's a who-up ship-up for me. Oh, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
There's a new winner in mustards. In a nationwide taste test, new Hellmann's Dijonnaise Creamy Mustard Blend beat the leading mustard by 2-1.
You know, when I opened up that lunchbox and I saw that my sweetheart had made that ham sandwich with delicious new Hellmann's Dijonnaise, well, I knew I was in love.
Oh, nothing beats new Hellmann's Dijonnaise.
My brother says it's said to be square, and Elio's pizza is square, really. And you break it up, and you stick it in the toaster thing, and tons of cheese goes blub, blub, blub. And the best part about Elio's is my brother has to make it for me, which is very convenient.
Elio's Pizza from McCain. Easier, cheesier, crispier.
And square.
Instant waxed shine as you dust. You've been hearing things like that for years. But is waxing all that instant when you only need to dust? Watch.
With spray wax, you have all this rubbing.
But there's no wax in Endust. It just coats your cloth with tiny beads that trap dust.
You just wipe, and it brings back the shine. Use wax when you have to, sure. But every time you dust, use Endust. It gets rid of dust in half the time of waxing.
I like the way you shine. Baby, it's understood. You're a good time all the time. You make me feel so good. I like the way you sweet the take me through a thirsty day. You're a welcome sight to see. You're a Washington apple.
Bite into the best.
A little taste of heaven to me.
Washington apples.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, just said your breath's the worst of all.
Brush your breath, brush your breath, brush your breath with Dentine.
Hey, a kiss for charity is really fine, but breath like yours isn't worth a dime.
Brush your breath, brush your breath, brush your breath with Dentine.
Not even mouthwash can freshen your breath more effectively than when you're chewing Dentine.
That baby's cute as a bunny rabbit, but he smelled your breath and let you have it.
Brush your breath, brush your breath, brush your breath with Dentine.
All right, welcome back to DMS 3000 News Live, episode 33. August 1st, 2023 is upon us here. Of course, I'm your host, Jason DeCanio. Once again, we welcome you to the program. All right, 42 years ago, MTV was launched back in 1981, and everybody was introduced to the music, television, video. Well, here we are 42 years later, and what have we gained? Well, we've gained something that pretty much they kind of died off with the videos and still try to make channels from that main channel that started many, many years ago. Well, MTV, or Music Television, is an American cable channel officially launched on August 1st, 1981. Based in New York City, it serves as the flagship property of the MTV Entertainment Group, part of Paramount Media Networks, a division of Paramount Global. The channel originally aired music videos and related programming as guided by television personalities known as video jockeys or VJs. Now, MTV was one of the American cable channels which was available in other countries that became a cult hit across the world and was one of the factors in cable programming's rise to fame and American corporations overwhelmingly dominating the television economy in the 90s. Now, in the years since its inception, it significantly toned down its focus on music in favor of original reality programming for teenagers and young adults. Since the late 2010s, they have devoted most of their programming schedule to select programs, primarily Ridiculousness, which in June 2020 aired for 113 hours out of the network's entire 168-hour lineup. They have spawned numerous sister channels in the United States and affiliated channels internationally, some of which have since gone independent. Approximately 90.6 million households in the U.S. received MTV as of January 2017. Well, back in the 70s, music television focused on live performances with shows such as In Concert and The Old Gray Whistle Test. Numerous major musical acts had made music videos to accompany their songs, including the Beatles, Bob Dylan, and Queen, but the concept and format had not been widely established. Then in 1979, executives at the newly formed Warner American Express Satellite Entertainment Company felt teenagers were an overlooked and potentially lucrative audience and hoped to develop a television format to target them. MTV's original format was created by the executive Robert W. Pittman, later the president and CEO of MTV Networks. He tested the format by producing and hosting a 15-minute show called Album Tracks on New York City's WNBC TV in the late 1970s. Pittman's boss, Warner executive vice president John Lack, had shepherded Pop Clips, a TV series created by the former Monkees member Michael Nesmith, whose attention had turned to the music video format in the late 70s. On Saturday, August 1st, 1981, at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time, MTV was launched with the words, "Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll," spoken by John Lack and played over footage of the first space shuttle launch countdown of Columbia, which took place earlier that year, and the launch of Apollo 11. The words were followed by the original MTV theme song, a rock tune composed by Jonathan Ellis and John Peterson, playing over the U.S. flag changed to show MTV's logo changing into different textures and designs. MTV producers Alan Goodman and Fred Siebert used this public domain footage as a concept. Siebert said that they had originally planned to use Neil Armstrong's "one small step" quote, but lawyers said that Armstrong owned his name and likeness and that he had refused, so the quote was replaced with a beeping sound. A shortened version of the shuttle launch ID ran at the top of every hour in different formats from MTV's first day until it was pulled in early 1986 in the wake of the Challenger disaster. The first music video on MTV, which at the time was only available to homes in New Jersey, was the Buggles' "Video Killed the Radio Star." It was followed by Pat Benatar's "You Better Run," and occasionally the screen went blank when an employee at MTV inserted a tape into a VCR. MTV's lower third graphics near the beginnings and ends of videos eventually used the recognizable cable typeface for about 25 years, but they varied on MTV's first day, set in a different typeface, and including details such as the song's year and record label. MTV's on-air programming was originally produced from the Teletronics studio facility at West 33rd Street in Manhattan, New York, and the programming was uplinked to satellite from a facility in Hopewog, New York. That also served as the uplink for sister networks Nickelodeon and the Movie Channel, originally the then owner Warner Amex Satellite Entertainment, that had planned to uplink MTV from a facility located at the studios of WIVB TV in Buffalo, New York, where Nickelodeon and the Movie Channel had been uplinked. Said facility was planned to be expanded to handle MTV's needs, but the deal with WIVB fell apart when Warner Amex was unable to reach a deal with Channel 4's ownership concerning a long-term lease. MTV later moved studio facilities to Unitel Video's complex located on 57th Street, ironically located across the street from the CBS Broadcast Center, owned by future corporate sibling CBS in 1987, remaining until 1995 when MTV chose to begin producing studio content in-house. Well, as the programming chief, Robert W. Pittman recruited and managed a team of co-founders for the launch that included Tom Freston, who succeeded Pittman as CEO of MTV Networks, Fred Siebert, and John Sykes. They were joined by Carolyn Baker, original head of talent and acquisition, Marshall Cohen, original head of research, Gail Sparrow of talent and acquisition, Sue Steinberg, executive producer, Julian Goldberg, Steve Lawrence, Jeff Bolton, studio producers and MTV News writers, associates producers, Liz Nealon, Nancy LaPook, and Robin Zorn, Steve Casey, creator of the name MTV and its first program director, Marcy Braffman, Richard Schenkman, Ronald E. Buzz Brindle, and Robert Morton. Kenneth M. Miller, he's credited as MTV's first technical director at its New York City-based network operations facility. Within 2 months, record stores were selling music local radio stations were not playing, such as Men at Work, Bow Wow Wow, and the Human League. MTV also sparked the second British invasion, featuring existing videos by British acts who had used the format for several years, for example, on BBC's Top of the Pops. MTV targeted an audience of ages 12 to 34. However, its self-conducted research showed that over 50% of its audience was 12 to 24, and that this group watched for an average of 30 minutes to 2 hours a day. As the PBS series Frontline explored, MTV was a driving force that catapulted music videos to a mainstream audience, turning music videos into an art form as well as a marketing machine that became beneficial to artists. Well, the MTV's earliest format was modeled after the AOR, or the album-oriented rock radio. It underwent a transition to emulate a full top 40 station in 1984. Fresh-faced young people hosted its programming and introduced videos. Many VJs became celebrities in their own right. The MTV's 5 original VJs in 1981 were Nina Blackwood, Mark Goodman, Alan Hunter, J.J. Jackson, and Martha Quinn. And you probably all recognize maybe 3 of those people who are hosting 80s on 8 at this very moment today. Nina Blackwood, Mark Goodman, and Alan Hunter. Yes, they all went on to now doing Sirius XM Radio 80s on 8. I don't know about J.J. Jackson and Martha Quinn, maybe. But the popular New York DJ Meg Griffin was going to be a VJ, but decided against it at the last minute. The VJs were hired to fit certain demographics the channel was trying to obtain. Goodman was the affable everyman. Hunter, the popular jock. Jackson, the hip radio veteran. Blackwood, the bombshell vixen. And Quinn, the girl next door. Due to uncertainty around the channel's success, the VJs were told not to buy permanent residences and to keep their second jobs. The VJs recorded intro and outro voiceovers before broadcast, along with music news, interviews, concert dates, and promotions. And these segments appeared to air live and debut on MTV 24/7, but they were pre-taped within a regular work week at MTV's studios. Rock bands and performers of the 80s who appeared on MTV ranged from new wave to soft rock and heavy metal, including Adam Ant, Bryan Adams, Pat Benatar, Blondie, The Cars, Culture Club, Def Leppard, Dire Straits, whose 1985 song and video Money for Nothing included the slogan, "I want my MTV" in its lyrics. Duran Duran, Eurythmics, Peter Gabriel, Genesis, Daryl Hall, John Oates, Billy Idol, Billy Joel, John Mellencamp, Motley Crue, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, The Police, Prince, Rat, Ultravox, U2, Van Halen, and ZZ Top. In 1984, more record companies and artists began making clips, realizing the popularity of MTV and the growing medium. To accommodate the influx of videos, they announced changes to its playlist in the November 3rd, 1984 issue of Billboard that took effect the next week. Playlist rotation categories were expanded from 3, light, medium, and heavy, to 7, new, light, breakout, medium, active, heavy, and power. This ensured that artists with chart hits got the exposure they deserved, with medium being a home for established hits still on the climb up to the top 10, and heavy a home for the big hits, without the bells and whistles, just the exposure they commanded. Flashdance, remember, was the first film whose promoters supplied MTV with musical clips to compose promotional videos, which the channel included in its regular rotation. The channel also rotated the music videos of Weird Al Yankovic, who made a career out of parodying other artists' videos. It also aired several of Yankovic's specials in the 80s and 90s under the title AITV. PSAs and promotion of charitable causes and NFPs were woven into the MTV fabric. In response to the AIDS epidemic, MTV initiated a safe sex campaign in 1985, believing that many youths would be more open to the message than from their parents. Its safe sex campaign continues today as It's Your Sex Life. And you can read furthermore about the wonderful things that MTV did over the course of its 42 years. We just gave you a little bit of history in the beginning to start you off with. And of course, celebrating today their 42nd birthday on August 1st, every year since then. So as we say here on the program, 42 years is a long time for a cable channel to continue its launch. And even though, like I said before at the top of the program, that MTV has really come a long way from the days of playing music videos, I think hopefully one of these days the viewers of MTV go back and say, hey, look, put some of the old videos back on and make some new videos and make it a 24/7 music channel once again. You never know. I always say MTV, if it's going to stick around in the future, it better start listening to its audience. All right. Tempest Bledsoe, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Yes, you are now officially 50 years old, and we are celebrating your birthday today. Oh, yes. She is an American actress, best known for her childhood role as Vanessa Huxtable, the fourth child of Cliff and Claire, on the long-running NBC sitcom The Cosby Show that ran from 84 to 92. In December of 2010, it was announced that Bledsoe would be the host of Clean House on the Style Network, replacing longtime host Niecy Nash. From September 2012 to February 2013, she was one of the stars of the NBC TV sitcom Guys with Kids, portraying Marnie. Well, in 1984, Bledsoe was cast in the role of Vanessa Huxtable on the sitcom The Cosby Show. She was a regular until its final season in 1992. She also made a one-time appearance as Vanessa on A Different World. In 86, Tempest played the role of Grace Wheeler in season 15, episode 4 of The Gift of Amazing Grace of the ABC After School Special Program. In 1989, she was a national spokesperson for DARE. In the mid-90s, from 1995 to 1996, Bledsoe hosted a daytime talk show, The Tempest Bledsoe Show, produced by Columbia TriStar Television and Dick Clark. She made a brief appearance in the sitcom The Parkers and has been featured in the recurring role of a single mother on the ABC show The Practice. She also appeared in the Lifetime show Strong Medicine and South of Nowhere. Her most recent credits include the role of Nina in the Oxygen Channel's original television movie Husband for Hire, Stephen Bacho's Raising the Bar and the role of Abby in the second season of Disney Channel's animated series, The Replacements. She appeared on VH1's Celebrity Fit Club and NBC's Fear Factor. It was announced on December 1st, 2010, that she would return to TV, replacing Niecy Nash as the host of Clean House on Style Network. Her first episode aired on January 6th of 2011, and in 2012, she was heard as the voice of Sheriff Hooper in the Laika animated film Paranorman. From September 2012 to February 2013, she portrayed Marnie in the NBC TV sitcom Guys with Kids. In 2014, she appeared in the Instant Mom episode Not Your Mother's Day, in which she reprised her role as Vanessa Huxtable. In July of 2019, she appeared in the Netflix show Family Reunion, episode 10, Remember When Our Boys Became Men. Well, she's had a fantastic career that spans, like I said, 1984 to 2019. She's also earned her bachelor's degree in finance from New York City University. And since 1993, she has been in a relationship with actor Daryl M. Bell, who co-starred in the NBC TV comedy A Different World, a spin-off of The Cosby Show. The couple appeared together in the Fox reality channel series House Husbands of Hollywood, which debuted August 2009. Bledsoe is a vegetarian. Carrot cake, yum, yum, yum. Happy birthday, Tempest. We thank you very much for your time on The Cosby Show and what you have done up till 4 years ago. Spend a day great, 50 years of, and look back at your career and say to yourself, wow, 50 years come and go. 9:08 is the time. And when we come back, we're going to be looking at the book called Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erickson, a commentary that will leave you speechless. We looked at Psychology of Stupidity yesterday. So today, Surrounded by Idiots comes back on the clock. We'll be right back with that look at the commentary right after this.
Its name of origin is Theobrahma, food of the gods, but we know it as chocolate. This may be the first time you've seen natural chocolate, and this may be the first time you've really tasted it. Breyer's all-natural ice cream. Nothing artificial, just fresh milk, real cream, pure sugar. So that true chocolate taste really comes through. Breyer's ice cream. It's like tasting chocolate for the first time.
My health club always had Pert Plus in the locker room. It cleans, conditions. It's great. Then one day they switched. This one said it had conditioner in it, but my hair told a different story.
Some 2-in-1s don't lather as well or leave hair feeling as clean. Others don't fully condition. But Pert Plus's microbead conditioner leaves hair clean and completely conditioned.
So now when I go to my club, my Pert Plus goes with me.
Pert Plus. There's no 2-in-1 like this one.
What's this? Married 6 months and already your wife's using spaghetti sauce for jaws?
It's okay, Pop. This is Prego.
Prego, listen to me. The ingredients of a successful marriage. Garlic.
It's in there.
Little bits of real herbs and onions for that homemade taste.
Pop, look, it's in there.
And you need...
Whoa, huh?
It's in there.
100% natural Prego spaghetti sauce. Homemade taste. It's in there.
Enjoy extra sugar-free gum.
You get extra flavor, extra fun, in extra sugar-free gum.
Extra, the only leading sugar-free gum with NutraSweet, gives you extra refreshing flavor that lasts an extra long time.
Extra flavor for that extra long play. Extra flavor for that extra long day. When you chew it extra, the extra fresh flavor lasts an extra long time.
Extra lasts extra long.
birch, beech, maple, hickory. America's great hardwood trees. They help make smoked sausage made on the Hillshire Farm, America's great tasting smoked sausage. Hillshire Farm uses its own special blend of hardwood chips from these great trees to slowly, gently, delicately smoke its sausage right on the farm. They do it the old-fashioned way to give you all the flavor you want in a smoked sausage. That's how Hillshire Farm makes America's great tasting smoked sausage in Polska kielbasa.
Surrounded by Idiots, a book by Thomas Erickson, has graced us with its presence today. And the commentary that surrounds this book from readinggraphics.com, we'll look at the summary of it right now. Well, did you ever roll your eyes at someone and thought to yourself, what an idiot? Well, you are certainly not alone. When someone cannot understand you or behave in totally unexpected ways, you may assume there's something wrong with them. The truth is, they may simply be different from you. In Surrounded by Idiots, Thomas Erickson explains how to recognize and communicate with 4 key behavioral profiles. In this Surrounded by Idiots summary, you'll uncover the key traits, differences, strengths, and weaknesses of the 4 types of behaviors and how to effectively interact with each other. Do also check out our complete summary bundle in a PDF, MP3, infographic, text, and audio format if you really want to get technical. Why are some people so quiet while others talk nonstop? Why are some people always late while others are punctual? Why do you relate naturally to some people but find others irritating? Our behavioral differences come from a mix of internal factors, personality, character, temperaments, and external factors of like the environment and situational factors. Our core values and attitudes affect how we behave and how we aspire to become. Our values define what we think is right or wrong. It's wrong to lie, or hard work is good. Our attitudes are the opinions that we develop from our life experiences. Salespeople can't be trusted. We also moderate our behaviors or wear different masks based on what we think is appropriate for a given situation. In any communication, what matters isn't what you say, but what the recipients hear and interpret based on their perceptions, biases, and frames of reference. To interact more effectively, you need to understand your own tendencies, others' needs and preferences, and how others may perceive your actions so you can tailor your approach accordingly. There are 4 behavior types, the 4 colors, the DISA, and the DISC. This book describes 4 behavior types: dominance, inducement, submission, and analytic, which explain the key differences in human behavior and communication. And each behavior type is associated with a color: red, yellow, green, and blue. These behavior types have existed for millennia. People have been behaving like this for a very long time. For example, you may have heard of the 4 humors by Hippocrates, or the DIS profile, or the DISC profile. Thomas Erickson brings these ideas to life by organizing the 4 behavior types around 4 colors. Here's a quick comparison of how Erickson's 4 colors relate to other common behavior profiling tools, especially the DISC and the DISA. So if Erickson's colors are red, yellow, green, and blue, and your Marston's DIS, if you're a red, you're dominant. If you're yellow, you're inspiration. Green is a submission, and blue is compliance. And then everything else is pretty much from the DISA, which is DISA, to Hippocrates humors and Aztec's elements. There's a behavioring profile comparison of all of the what they call the philosophers' interesting profiles of our behavior. In the complete Surrounded by Idiots summary, we'll elaborate more on the models above, but simply put, Erickson's 4 colors are derived from the DISA model: red for dominance, yellow for inspiration, green for stability, and blue for analytic. There's also similar to DISC, except the C is replaced by A for analytic. Thomas Erickson's 4 colors are meant to help us understand why people behave the way they do, not to narrowly compartmentalize people, but here are the 4 behavior types at a glance. 80% of people have 2 dominant colors, 15% of people have 3, and only 5% have 1. Every color has its strengths and its weaknesses, and different situations call for different behaviors. We can adopt our own behaviors to suit each person and situation. Every color has its desirable and not so desirable traits. A quality can be a strength in some situations and a liability in others. Different situations also call for different behaviors, so treat the behavior pattern as tools that you can use. It's impossible to account for all human differences, and there will always be exceptions. Moreover, we are capable of adapting our behaviors instead of rigidly sticking to one set of behaviors. And only 5% of people have 1 dominant color. The majority have less than 1 dominant, and 80% have 2, and 15% have 3. No one seems to have all 4. So, here are the color breakdowns for them. If you're red, reds are driven, ambitious, decisive, and dynamic, which makes them natural leaders. They bring energy and momentum to a team project and are extremely competitive. They work hard and constantly challenge themselves. Reds are task-oriented and are always on the go. They're straightforward in their communication and won't hesitate to state their views. However, reds can appear aggressive, impatient, and domineering. And they're so focused on getting things done that they may bulldoze over others or leave others behind. They may also interrupt others, assert their views, or seem controlling or confrontational. If you're a yellow, you're positive, you're creative, and you're sociable. There are social butterflies, outgoing, popular, and having a huge social network. Yellows are always full of vitality, fun, and laughter, infecting others with their positive energy. They're also optimistic, resourceful, and inspiring. And of the 4 colors, yellows are the most animated, expressive, and talkative. However, the yellows can also come across as impulsive, attention-seeking, and overly verbose. They are bad listeners and tend to dominate a conversation, often spew ideas or opinions without prior thought or knowledge. And they're so fun-loving that they may resist rules, miss deadlines and appointments, and get carried away by excessive optimism. Now for you, the greens. If you're a green, you're calm, you're stable, and loyal. And they prefer a calm, predictable environment where they can move at a leisurely pace. They're patient, reliable, great team players, but they shy away from the spotlight. They'd avoid conflict wherever possible to maintain harmony and stability. On the flip side, greens may be perceived as stubborn, indifferent, or even dishonest. They don't change their minds or take action until something feels truly right for them. The bigger the challenge or problem, the more they hold back. So, they can seem slow or resistant to change. To avoid conflict, greens may sit on the fence or speak in vague terms, even if they disagree with something. They're unlikely to speak up, preferring to voice their displeasure privately behind your back. And for you blues out there, you're detail-oriented, analytical, and perfectionists who seek to have the right answers to everything. They categorize, label, and document everything and do things in a systematic way. You'll find them using complex spreadsheets, decision-making tools to evaluate a problem from all angles. They will check everything multiple times and insist on contingency plans before taking action. And they don't speak unnecessarily, preferring to quietly observe and analyze everything around them. However, blues may also be perceived as distant, pessimistic, and fastidious. It can be slow and tedious to work with them. They can also appear cold and critical, always asking for evidence and pointing out risks and problems. So as you can see, there's no perfect behavior type. Each color has its strengths and weaknesses. Any quality can backfire if it's applied in the wrong situation or if it's taken to an extreme. And moreover, most people have less than one dominant color and may exhibit different traits under different circumstances. So you may also wish to check out our strengths-based leadership summary to see how you can specifically leverage strengths as a team. And now that you know about each of the 4 profiles, you can become more aware of your own tendencies and learn to interact with other people more effectively. A large portion of Thomas Erickson's book is devoted to real-life application tips. In our complete Surrounded by Idiots summary, you get the full 17-page summary here. We've organized those insights into the following sections: how to recognize and respond to each color type via written communication and body language, how to adopt to people who are not like you, how to manage collaboration and group dynamics involving different colors, and understand what angers or stresses out each color type and what you can do about it. So, the only way to become fluent at the language of human behavior is to keep practicing it, to start applying the ideas. And then Thomas Erickson encourages you to try identifying the profile of people around you and experimenting with the various tips and suggestions in the book. If you wish to truly understand the people around you and interact with them more effectively, do check out our full book summary bundle. Also includes an infographic 17-page text summary and a 30-minute audio summary. It's full of examples, personal observations, colorful anecdotes to bring the 4 behavior types to life. So, yeah. And also remember, too, that this book was written by Thomas Erickson. He's a lecturer, speaker, and author. For more than 20 years, he has been helping people to improve their communication with one another and has authored several best-selling books and developed tools and online courses to facilitate both professional and personal development. And there you have it, friends. An interesting commentary and a summary of a book by Thomas Erickson, Surrounded by Idiots. Go check it out at the library and see if you can find out what color you are. All right. When we come back, we'll look at the editorial and wrap up this day as we finish up another great session of DMS 3000 News Live, episode 33, coming to a close right after this.
At the river mouth, the bears catch only the tastiest, most tender salmon. Which is exactly what we at John West want. John West endured the worst to bring you the best.
Hello, ladies. Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me. Sadly, he isn't me. But if he stopped using lady-scented body wash and switched to Old Spice, he could smell like he's me. Look down. Back up. Where are you? You're on a boat with the man your man could smell like. What's in your hand? Back at me. I have it. It's an oyster with 2 tickets to that thing you love. Look again. The tickets are now diamond. Anything is possible when your man smells like Old Spice and not a lady. I'm on a horse.
Ship my pants? Right here? Ship my pants, you're kidding. You can ship your pants right here. You hear that? I can ship my pants for free.
Wow, I just may ship my pants.
Yeah, ship your pants. Billy, you can ship your pants too.
I can't wait to ship my pants, Dad.
I just shipped my pants and it's very convenient.
Very convenient.
I just shipped my drawers.
I just shipped my nightie.
I just shipped my bed.
If you can't find what you're looking for in store, we'll find it at Kmart.com right now and ship it to you for free.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. We have created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests, obeying contradictory thoughts. Our unification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Mr. Cow.
Yes?
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
I don't know. I always end up biting. Ask Mr. Fox, for he's much cleverer than I.
Mr. Fox, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Why don't you ask Mr. Turtle, for he's been around a lot longer than I. Me, I bite.
Mr. Turtle, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
I never made it without biting. Ask Mr. Owl, for he is the wisest of us all.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
A good question. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3.
If there's anything I can't stand, it's a smart owl.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
Please, dig him out.
Mr. Green? Mr. Green?
Yeah.
You need any help?
Mm-mm.
I just want you to know, I think you're the best ever.
Yeah, sure.
Want my Coke? It's okay, you can have it.
No.
Really, you can have it.
Okay.
A Coke and a smile makes me feel good. Makes me feel nice.
Be around.
That's the way it should be. I like to see
Hey, kid.
the whole world is smiling with me. Coca-Cola as life. Have a Coke and
Thanks, Mean Joe.
smile.
So you think Santa will like these red and green M&Ms?
I don't know. I never met the guy. He does exist!
They do exist. Santa?
Oh, Santa? Welcome back to DMS 3000 News Live. I'm your host, Jason DeCanio. Episode 33 is coming to a close here soon on this August 1st, 2023. But there is an editorial that has to be given to you today, and I think it's fitting to note that there's a couple of things going on. I mentioned at the top of the show that for today and the following Tuesdays, there's 5 weeks in August. So every Tuesday in August, there will be a meeting of the David 3000 Network staff and its viewers and those who work right beside us as we make a launch for the fall schedule. So if you have not, signed up for any of the meetings, because they start tonight at 8 o'clock, the first one, you can still come to this first meeting tonight and show up and give your input as to what we're going to be launching on the fall schedule. Fair enough, but you also can give us a hint to which one of the other meetings you might want to join if you can't make this one tonight. We have 4 other meetings. They all start at 8 o'clock, and we're all pretty much going to be focusing on launching that fall schedule on September 4th. Now, a couple other things to let you know about that I haven't touched base with, and I can't wait to pretty much explain them and wait till next Saturday to give you. Next Monday on the program, which I don't know what episode is going to be, but that's August 8th. For 2 hours, 2 buddies of mine are coming on the show to promote their big show for their 200th episode, which is that following Thursday. Yes, Brandon Martin and Jordy Sco are going to come on and talk about Rant and Rave. We'll talk about the history. We'll talk about their 200th launching of the episode, and we'll pretty much just hang out, for the day and get them to do some commentaries and other great stuff on the program. So it should be a fun 2 hours with 2 great buddies of mine who are launching, like I said, the 200th episode. That'll be on the week of August 8th, which is next week. So 9, 10, it'll be August 11th. that the 200th episode of Rant and Rave will premiere. And if you get some information about the 199th episode, you'll get some more information this week. So stay tuned for that for all of you who are near and dear to the Rant and Rave podcast show. My buddies at the Popcorn podcast show, Victor and those guys, I hope to get you on here sooner or later to talk about that show. This is one of the other things also, too, that we're going to try to announce at the meetings is that if you like to be on the DMS 3000 News Live for an episode or two to promote your channels, you certainly can. Now, I'm one of those people that I do Monday and Tuesdays here at the show, at the studios, and Brandon picks up Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I'm thinking to myself, how in the world am I going to promote my 3 YouTube channels on the days that I host the DMS 3000 News Live? Well, there is one thing I can do. I can bring in the CEO of our company, David St. Dennis, to interview me and then have him, step back out, and I can come back in and finish hosting. So I think that's what I'm going to do all of these next couple of weeks here as we lead up to the season premieres of The Queen's New Yorker, Jay's Retro Toys and Games, and The Legends of Smooth Jazz. And by the way, as I mentioned before, too, I was telling you that I was getting trolled a lot on the Legacy of New York. Well, I solved that problem, and my troll, unfortunately, and it's unfortunate because of his immature and inadequate behavior, has pretty much ruined it for everybody else. But you cannot comment now on any of the videos of the 63 that are up there, and I'm putting up a 64th episode today. So you can thank the guy in Michigan who literally just ruined it for everybody because he couldn't stop when he was asked to, and he just kept on spamming the comments, which I saw, and they were disgusting and had actually made no sense because the guy himself don't make no sense. Maybe he needs to read the book by Surrounded by Idiots to find out why people don't like idiots in general. Who knows? But anyway, so because of that gentleman or whoever it was, and we know who it is because he's the only one that literally just continues to harass and bother me, even though I have left him in the dirt. And I'm going to say this once again. Look, I don't care anymore. I don't care what you got to say. I don't care what you do with your sorry ass life. It's not my problem. It's not my business. If I want to comment on somebody else's channel that you don't like, preferably, that is your problem, and you're going to have to face it. Okay, this is a free country, and let's talk about commenting on videos for a little bit here, because this is interesting. YouTube videos have comments open for a reason. The comments are basically to comment about the content of the show, not the host and not the person presenting it. But we've found out over the course of maybe 10 years that these comments are directed toward the content creators to harass, to bully, to intentionally put them down for their great hard work. And I think it's a sad shame. I think it's terrible that these trolls and the haters and everybody out there on YouTube, why would you comment such bad, negative things to somebody that you have a problem with instead of dealing directly with that person in an instant message or a Skype or a StreamYard where you can face them one-on-one? Why do you have to hide behind a typewriter with your little fat fingers there? Why must you do that? You have an Oedipus complex? Why do you want to go behind the scenes and hide yourself and not be exposed? Because this is the thing. Trolls, we know how you write. We know what you're going to say. It doesn't matter if you try to change your name and try to be somebody else or try to impersonate somebody else. See, impersonation, you can't get by with that stuff anymore, folks. You cannot be behind the scenes. You could probably give it maybe a month before somebody finds out who it really is. So do yourself a favor. If you cannot comment anything positive on somebody's YouTube channel, then don't comment at all. Because if you keep doing this stuff and people will put it under review, I put all my stuff under review, okay? I don't care at this point. If you can't comment on the topics that I talk about that pertain to that video, then your comments are never going to get publicized. So don't even try. Don't waste your time. Stop doing that. Because you know what? The stuff is never going to get publicized. And I don't care if you say, well, he never accepts the stuff that is there because it's true. It's not true, folks. The stuff that the people are writing about me say that I can't hold viewers and what do you call it? I lost track of it. It says I can't hold viewers and what do you call it? The people who pretty much subscribers. Well, first of all, let me tell you this, folks. My YouTube channel is not meant to gain subscribers. It's meant to gain views. And then the subscribers will come later on if they so choose to. I'm not forcing anybody to subscribe to my channel. I'm not forcing anybody to view my channel. It's out there for people who want to know about the history of the borough of Queens. It's always been that way for the past 8.5 years, going on 9 this September. The Queens New Yorker has been a staple on Anchor and Spotify and on YouTube and it's only been on YouTube for maybe about 2 years. Okay, I've just started putting the episodes on David's network, on the 3000 network. Slowly but surely, I put up about the first 60 episodes. Okay, so those archived episodes, this is the first time they're actually on YouTube in a safe spot where the trolls cannot get to it. Okay, so don't even try to report the videos because you think you hold a copyright claim to them. You don't. Okay, you don't own it. It never was yours to begin with. And don't think for 1 second, just because there's pictures up there and history that doesn't go with it, that none of the people are getting cited or getting accreditation for their work. Okay, everything is to the T, I's dotted, T's crossed. And that's the bottom line, folks. Okay. So again, as we launch into the fall, coming this September, the David 3000 Network wants committed people for the next 7 months. We're also looking for a research team. A research team, a group of guys of 4 to go out there and research the numbers, what our viewers are looking at, what shows they are tuning into day in and day out. What shows we can improve on, what shows we need to make changes on, what time slots might work better for other things. These are questions that are all going to be answered and asked in the meetings ahead. So it's vitally important that if you want to talk about this, you need to come to these meetings the next 5 Tuesdays. It's vitally important that you try to attend one of them to get your point across. Because if you don't show up to these meetings, we feel that you're happy with what's going on. Even if you don't sound happy and want to give us some input, we're here for you. Me and David are going to listen to everybody's opinion, everybody's grumps, gripes, and complaints, and everybody's happiness and positivity toward the David 3000 Network. Okay? And like I said, I'm still new to this, to the staff of the DMS News Live here. This is only my second month in doing a live show like this, and yet I've been a podcaster for 14 years. But the community has welcomed me with open arms, and I thank each and every one of you for your continued support. And I hope to give you great content. So this is your opportunity to discuss with me at these meetings that start tonight at 8:00 on Discord. Okay. This gives you an opportunity to talk to me one-on-one, explain your situation, and if you have any situations that need to be addressed, hey, we'll take care of these things. This meeting is for you, folks, and we want all of you to know that the staff at the David 3000 Network takes care of its viewers and its listeners with great positive feedback, and even if we have to address the negativity, let's do it and get it to where everybody's at a compromise. The editorials that we give you today on the show, they cover lots of topics. If you have an editorial that you'd like me to talk about, on future episodes, drop us a line. If there's anything that you would like us to talk about that we haven't discussed yet, as far as events or commentaries or something of that sort that deal with different topics, please drop me and Brandon Martin a line. We'd love to hear from you because it helps us to get our topics going faster, because there's a lot of good stuff out there, but we can't cover it all in the 2-hour program. Speaking of 2-hour programs, in about 15 minutes, Brian Snow and Cole Johnson will definitely be taking over the reins from 10 to 12. All about what's going on with the trade deadlines. I hope they're talking about the Major League Baseball stuff, because right now they're talking a lot about basketball and the upcoming NBA season, which is still far away, folks. But we also have to talk about hockey that's coming up later on in the program, too. The debut of the Hockey Puckers. Gave that away. We're going to be on the fall schedule. The debut of that show comes somewhere around October. More about that later on as I try to promote the channels and help the David 3000 Network to gain more subscribers. The aim right now, keep the views going, keep the subscribers going. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? This is your opportunity to be part of a growing network that is going in the right direction. We're not looking back. We're moving forward. That's all I got today for you folks. Brandon Martin takes over the next 3 days and gives you some great commentaries on wonderful topics. He'll be talking about Pee Wee Herman's legacy tomorrow, definitely on the program. I told him, do take over that topic because it needs to be addressed. And Pee Wee Herman, or Paul Rubens, died too young at the age of 70. So as I said, and I mentioned to Brandon, do take that topic and go with it. We hope you love the topics today. I know I did. And of course, we will definitely see you tomorrow. I won't be here, but you'll see Brandon Martin tomorrow if you come in and look at the program. And remember, you'll see me next week as I'm on with Brandon Martin and Jordy Little next week. Jordy Sco, that is. Little, he goes by many names, but the Rant and Rave co-hosts, they're going to be here next week talking about the 200th episode of Rant and Rave. Should be a great show. Look forward to it on Monday. We'll see you next time. I'm Jason Icanio. Remember, be honest, be real, and have a great day. We'll see you then. Bye now.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Advertising Network for great more content like this one.